And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji commences tonight's satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called O Thou Divine Wisdom.
Whisper of the early morning breeze, your melody sings like gentle rain that falls on the flowers of spring.
recording from the ashram of our revered Guru Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is September the 25th, 2020, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Tulsi Ramayana. This is series 2016, class number 223. And now Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Neelambujashyamalkomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvansha Natham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow, an arrow in his hands. All that is allegorical. God is being praised. Sri Ramcharitmanas, Ayodhya Kand. Verse number 259. The context in Ramayana story, Bharata, Sage Vasishtha, all the great people of Ayodhya, they have all joined together. And Rama is also there. So in that assembly of congregation of prominent people, Sage Vasishtha is consoling Bharata and inspiring him. Because Bharata has gone there with all these people to get Rama back to Ayodhya and to accept his coronation. That's the storyline, and in the philosophical way, you are being given a colorful episode to understand the role of bhakti, devotion, in spiritual practice. Devotion aspect is Bharata. So what Bharata is very personification. So all the challenge he is suffering from relates to understanding how devotion from early stage grows into powerful stage, and how psychology changes. In the beginning of your relation with God, you always have your idea what you want God to give to you. And you don't have so much trust in God. But if you had complete trust, you wouldn't be asking. But you want to secure that God doesn't forget what you want. So you plan out your prayer and try to see that you don't miss any. Kumbhakarna made an error. He constantly thought of Indrasan. But when Brahma comes, he says Nindrasan. They made an error. So using that type of allegorical understanding, now we continue with this story and see all those points that highlight devotion. And for a devotee, challenges that devotee must face to enable his devotion to become perfect. तब मुनि बोले भरत सन सब संकोच तजितात कृपा सिंधु प्रिय बंधुमन सन कह हृदय कह बात. Sage Vasishtha said to Bharata, O Tat, Tat is a very unique way of addressing in Sanskrit. Loved one actually implies. So any Tat is like a little child, you beloved child. But anyone who is touching your heart with tenderness is Tat. You turn to your father and say, Tat, do this. So Tat is that type of word. And why it has become so lovable? Because it's variation of Tat, that. So, Sage Vasishtha says to Bharata, O Tat, without any hesitation, open your heart to Lord Rama, who is the ocean of grace. Open your heart to your brother, Rama. सुनि मुनि बचन राम रुख पाई गुरु साहिब अनुकूल अघाई. Hearing the words of Sage Vasishtha and knowing that Rama also wishes the same, Bharata felt free of the load he was carrying on his head, very relaxed internally, and he began to reflect upon what he has to say. पुलक शरीर सभा भय ठाढ़े नीरज नयन नेह जल बाढ़े कहब मोर मुनिनाथ निबाहा ते अधिक कहो मैं कहा. His whole body very thrilled. He stood up in that assembly. From his lotus eyes, tears of love began to flow. And he said, Lord of sages, Vasishtha, had already conveyed to you, Rama, O Rama, all that I want to say. So there is nothing more to say to you. मैं जानऊं निज नाथ सुभाऊ अपराधी हूं पर कोह न काऊ. And he goes on saying to Rama, you are Lord, I am your servant. And I know the nature of my Lord. Even towards one who has done wrong deed, one who is a culprit, you are that type of a Lord who does not punish the person for his mistake. Will correct the mistake, but not punishing the mistake. And you don't maintain anger against those who have done wrong to you or committed vicious deeds. I have the privilege of having a special grace of you, Lord Rama. Even during the time of play as children, I have never seen you being displeased with me. Shishu padate parihereun sangu kabahuna kina mora mana bangu. You never caused frustration in my mind. From my very childhood, you have been loving for me. मैं प्रभु कृपा रीति जिया जोही हारे हूँ खेल जिता वही मोही. I have profound understanding of your graceful ways. Even during the time I was wrong, I was losing my game, you made me appear as if I won the game. Switch things around. महू सनेह सकोच बस सन्मुख कही न बैन दर्शन त्रिपित न आज लगी प्रेम पिया से नैन. And during that time when Bharata was about to be defeated and Rama made him win, and Bharata stayed simply calm, quiet, didn't say that you Rama, you won, but you are making me appear, making me the winner. Bharata didn't say that because he bowed down to Rama's will. Rama wanted him to win, so and no harm in that. Understand that. And while I'm saying all this, the subtle point to understand, relationship of a devotee with God, that sensitive relation must become possible in your very heart. That God does not hold on to your defects, your wrong deeds, your errors. His boundless love is simply waiting for you to emerge out of your weaknesses. विधि न सके सही मोर दुलारा, नीच बीचु जननी मिस पारा। यह कहत मोहि आजु न शोभा, अपनी समुझ साधु सुचि को भा। But this joyous relationship that I had with my brother Rama, the joyous relationship of love, Bharata says to Rama, that I had with you, that relationship has been broken. By my mother Kaikeyi. But this again, what Kaikeyi has done is the plan of Vedanta, is Brahma's plan. So therefore, I cannot even blame Kaikeyi for my weaknesses. Bharata is presenting himself with great humility, that he doesn't deserve to be loved by Rama. There again you see the echo of saintly heart. A saintly heart doesn't assert that I have opened up all the Kundalini, I'm Brahman. A saintly heart is always aware of miseries that are being experienced by countless souls. And all those souls are as if he himself. So in his heart, as long as there is a single person in misery, this again is allegorical statements, his heart will not say, oh, I am so glad. And thereby what does he wish? A saintly heart. Oh God, relieve every soul of its misery. Bless every soul with Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. And that radiates from the heart of sages. So when you hear the statements like Mosam Kaun Kutil Khal Kami, Tulsidas says elsewhere, who is there in this world more kutil, more crooked, more deceitful, more engulfed or entangled by deluded love? But all that doesn't mean that it is his own personal weaknesses he is presenting. But he is presenting the weaknesses for which his heart is going out to cure those weaknesses. And what about himself? In a devotional movement, a subtle sneak preview comes into your heart that you are an instrument in divine hand. So an instrument does not carry any type of defect. It is not your knife to be blamed. You're not your spoon to be applauded. You're simply an instrument in divine hand. You are just nothing. But if at all You carry the heart of others. Always a prayerful heart. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. मातु मंदी मैं साधु सुचाली उर आनत कोटि कुचाली फरई को दव बाली सुसाली मुक्ता प्रसव की संबुक काली. For me to say that my mother is low-minded and I am sadachari, righteous, a saint, bringing this idea in my heart is similar to being person devoted to unrighteous conduct. In other words, the blame goes out towards me. Can a corn bring out or produce rice? Or can a little black shell bring out pearl? All these are just allegorical statements. Implying he's likening himself to a little black shell. His project is to bring out the pearl of devotion, relationship with Rama. But in the state of utter humility, he's expressing in a different way. And that again is a subtle point that mind has to work upon. As a jiva, individual soul, if you view yourself as the reflected sun in a jar of water, a reflected sun has no individuality. It may shine a lot, etc., but it doesn't have any solid reality. So devotional movement doesn't allow that idea, I am, the ego doesn't allow the idea that intensifies your ego. Therefore in all the mantras, nama, neither me nor mine, and self-effacement. सपने हूँ दो शकलेशु न काहू मोर अभाग उदधि अवगाहू. So Bharata goes on saying that nobody is to be blamed. My own misfortune is like a fathomless ocean. Without understanding this point about my own self, I have in vain uttered so many bitter words against Kaikeyi, the mother. हृदय हेरि हार्यों सब ओरा, एक ही भांति भल ही भल मोरा। गुरु गोसाई साहब सिय रामू, लागत मोई नीक परिणामू। I have looked every corner of my heart and have not found what I can do to remedy all this that has happened. The only guidance that's blessed for me, and that is to follow the command of Guru Maharaj, Yoga Vasishtha, and Sri Ram, Sita Ram. And that seems to me the best resolution to my problem. साधु सभा गुरु प्रभु निकट, कहें उस सुथल सती भाव। प्रेम प्रपंच की झूठ फुर, जा नहीं मुनि रघुराव। All this I am saying in the assembly of sages, in the presence of Sri Rama, and in this sacred pilgrimage place. All that I am saying is a statement of my sincere heart. Is it my love for Rama, or am I just using palabras, chal kapat? I'm making a show of love. Is my love for Rama false, or is it real? Sage Vasishtha, who is the all-knower, and Lord Rama, who is Antaryami, he knows everyone's heart. These two alone know my status. Okay, just one moment. भूपति मरण प्रेम पनु राखी, जननी कुमति जगत सब साखी, देखी न जाहि बिकल महतारी, जरहि दुसह जर पुर नर नारी। Our father, King Dasharatha, observed the rule of love for maintaining the two boons he gave to Kaikeyi, for that maintaining the validity of his words. Sage Vasishtha, say rather, King Dasharatha accepted his death. So Dasharatha's death, for sake of maintaining the words he gave to Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi's negative intellect, all these have brought about a lot of sorrow. The mothers are agitated. All people in Ayodhya, they are suffering from great distress. Mahi sakal anratha kar moola, so suni samuchi sahyun sab sula. And Bharata is continuing to present his humility of his heart, which is simply giving you an understanding that greater the devotion, greater is the humility of your heart. And humility is not humiliation. It's the magnanimity. And that point has to get deep into the heart. As ego expands or swells, your heart becomes increasingly limited. So limited that you don't know whom really you love. First, the whole love statement is limited to near and dear ones. But now again, who are the near and dear ones? People who are very near, at times they are very distant. Love is the next door, but will not talk, will not look at each other, and they are very near. People are far away. You take your iPad and you are communicating with them. So, that's normal. For normal heart led by karma, that's the setting everyone faces a life, and there is nothing wrong in it. But as what is wrong is to stay bonded in that state, to always view that your life is only based, you will be blessed if all things go well with your family, at least at your grandson or daughter. Wishing good to anyone is perfectly okay, but try to understand the limited heart wishes only for select few. And whatever we are wishing, that itself is not so great. मही सकल अनरथ कर मूला, सो सुनि समुझि सहिं सब सूला। सुनि बन गवनु कीन्ह रघुनाथा, करि मुनि वेश लखन सिय साथा। I know that I have been the root cause of all this that has gone on, all the evil, all that Rama is going to forest, and all that people who are in distress. Bharata is blaming himself for all this happening. बिनु पानन पया दही पाए, शंकरु साखी रहूं यही घाए। बहुरी निहारी निषाद सनेहु, कुलिश कठिन उर भयउ न बेहु। Because of me, Sri Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, in the guise of in the guise of sages and saints, rather sages, sannyasis, putting on the dress of sannyasis, they went into the forest without having even shoes in their feet. And I have been the cause for putting them into that state. And Lord Shiva himself is a witness that I am still alive. I should have left my body, having seen all that. And having witnessed the love that Nishadaraj Guha has for Rama, my heart should have been broken to pieces. My heart should have melted away. अब सकु आँख न देखें जाई, जियत जीव जड़ सबहि सहाई। जिनहि निरखि मग सांपिनि बीची, तजहि विषम विषु तामस तीची। Now all of you have seen how this Bharata, referring to himself, is subjecting himself to boundless torture. The type of torture I have created. Even snakes with their poison, they become little compared to the type of venom that I have endured. And he also gives the illustration of scorpion. Snakes bite and scorpion sting. That makes the world venomous. What he is saying, that his personality has caused worse venom for sending Rama, Lakshmana, Sita away, and thereby subjecting himself to worst pain. Without my going through the literary aspect, the literary aspect is only a vehicle for you to understand the subtle meaning. Subtle meaning behind it is as you develop love of God, spiritual sensitivity. How do you know that sensitivity? You begin to understand sources of pain. This world is full of pain, but due to ignorance, you find pleasure, call it happiness, in a world that is transient and unreal. And when that awareness begins to develop of one's predicament, this whole world full of misery, sarvam dukkam vivekina, therefore the yogic statement, as you begin to develop a spiritual sensitivity, your mind does not maintain a vision of being well settled in the world, staying young without having hair grey, having all the teeth. No, it's nothing shaken. Oh God, give me that. So that type of concept will not be there in your heart. Rather, a secure space within your heart maintains a constant vision that when will I get out of this world? There is nowhere in the world that I can be at rest, because sarvam dukkam. There is no happiness here. You have found yourself in a pit where there is a swarm of ants all around you, up and down and everywhere. But this type of experience, the same setup of the world, is so pleasant and such a source of intoxicating pleasure for countless people. Dust particles fall on your body. It doesn't matter. You don't even know it. But one little particle falls in your eye, and your eyes complain. This illustration I am giving just to understand that when that type of internal bhavana, internal feeling begins to develop about the world, and countered by when I be united with God? When will I be one with God? This world is painful. When will I attain liberation? And when the world becomes exceedingly painful, your mind has no other way to go but 3 great points. You want a strength to face challenges in your life and not be deluded. And you need to have bhakti to make your life sweet and saras, leading to mukti, liberation. If the central goal becomes clear in your personality, then you are on the healthy side. You have gained your real health. And spiritual sensitivity continues to grow more and more. सुनियति बिकल भरत बर बानी, आरती प्रीति विनय नय सानी, शोक मगन सब सभा खबारू, मनहु कमल बन परेउ तुरा तुसारू. All these words coming out of Bharata, full of his heart's sorrow for Rama's separation, his love, his humility, his goodness. People heard all that and they all, as if received, shower of grief. As if frost fell upon the lotuses. कहीं अनेक विधि कथा पुरानी, भरत प्रबोध किन्न मुनि ज्ञानी. Then Sage Vasishtha told various stories from the scriptures and brought out teachings from these his scriptures, stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Upanishads, Vedas and so forth. All that have been summarized in one sentence. Otherwise it will be whole Ramayana, all that he said. But simple point is, how do you deal with increasing sensitivity that makes you view the world as full of pain? Your mind will become completely full of negativity. Answer to it is Swadhyaya and receiving guidance from Guru. Because even in your Swadhyaya means studying scriptures and receive inspiration from scriptures and support. But even that should be under guidance. Simple point, study scriptures guided by Satsanga. Satsanga elaborates the scripture, gives you deeper meaning behind it. Now when you read the same scripture with good guidance, the scripture begins to talk to you in a profounder way. Same scripture becomes insightful, inspirational. तात जाए जिये बकरहु गलानी, ईशाधीन जीव गति जानी. तीन काल त्रिभुवन मत मोरे, पुण्य सिलोक तात तर तारे. After Sage Vasishtha had given all those talks, बोले उचित बचन रघुनंदु. Rama then spoke out at the right time, his right statements. Who is Rama? He is from the solar line, he is the sun, who enables the lotuses to blossom. So what did Rama say? Saas jhaye jiye karahu galani, ईशाधीन जीव गति जानी, तीन काल त्रिभुवन मत मोरे, पुण्य सिलोक तात तर तोरे. O तात Bharata, in vain you are grieving over all this, holding grief in your heart. All this happens, understand, all happenings follow the plan of God. According to me, during the three periods of time, past, present and future, and in the three lokas, heaven, earth and the netherworld. This is the popular translation. Otherwise it means broader, deeper. Three lokas are your physical experience. Second is experience based on your feeling. Third is experience based upon your understanding. So all these three lokas. But following the storyline, what Rama says, O Bharata, no one is like you in the greatness of spiritual evolution. Among punyatmas, virtuous souls, in the three worlds, no one is like you. All are behind you. All are below your status. And that applies to everywhere. It's a statement of truth. All people, general masses who are under ignorance, all they are going to gain is in the terms of time, space, causation. All they are going to gain is in the realm of mortality. But if you have developed devotion to God, you are moving towards immortality. So all those people who are in that state, looking for solving their problems in a transient way, they are below your status. This in Upanishadic terms, all those who are driven by desire to find their prosperity and progress in the world of mortality. This whole process is called alpam. All the happiness you get is little. But devotion opens the door to infinite, eternal joy, called bhuma. Alpam versus bhuma. उर आनत तुम पर कुटिलाई, जाई लोक पर लोक नसाई. Whoever will point finger at you, O Bharata, telling that you are crooked, such a person will lose all his good karmas. His happiness in the world and hereafter, all will be destroyed. In other words, what Rama is saying, that devotion that you are practicing, devotion that you are living with, that devotion is supremely admirable. दोषु देहि जननी जड़ते जिन गुरु साधु सभा नहीं सेई. He who has not been to satsanga, received blessings from Guru and sadhus, such a person will blame Kaikeyi. Rama opens the door while praising Bharata. His insecure understanding of Kaikeyi, that again philosophically, an insecure relation between devotion and vichar. Vichar is a questioning mind. Devotion, loving heart. But when you love, you shouldn't have a questioning mind. That's a quick judgment about love. But your questioning mind should be filled with answer, not question. The devotion should not ignore the questioning mind. If love movement is not satisfying your questioning mind, the love is not complete. The devotion is not complete. So, but then devotion is, as a growing tree, it is an admirable tree. But in its babyhood, it is not complete in its glory. So Bharata is not complete in his glory. But, and why he is not complete? He has not understood Kaikeyi's role. And Rama, instead of directly saying he is wrong, he has first praised him and then he just makes a statement. And with this I am going to conclude. Om Ram 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of divine grace, Karunamaya Ras over all, and may all be blessed with Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmuva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Are there any questions tonight for Swamiji? Okay, then I'd like to just make a quick announcement of importance. 2 weeks from tonight, on Friday, October 9th, we will be beginning our Mother Worship celebration. Because of the Rangame Banga effect of the virus. And since there is no personal participation here, and the ashram remains technically closed, we will have wonderful lectures from Swamiji on the mysticism of mother worship. We will not have the scrumptious food that you were used to in the past. And no kum poking. But when you leave, you can feel that Swamiji's lectures have satisfied not just your mind and your heart, but your tummy as well. And you can imagine... Pardon?
Your heart will be poked.
And you can go home and imagine the wonderful kheer and all of the delicious foods that you're used to having, and just feel totally satisfied in your mind. Swamiji's lectures will be at 5:30 each of the 10 days, 5:30 p.m. each of those 10 days, starting on October 9th and culminating 10 days later on the Sunday. So all of those 10 days, including the Vijaya Dashmi lecture on the final Sunday, will be at 5:30. Okay. And we conclude for tonight.